Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, or you find a way to lose. Please subscribe to the channel. Now, boom! Paulie Malinaggi, the magic man, the mouth of the goddamn east, west, north, and south, right? He went and he said, but you know, he's known for saying some crazy shit. But he said he feels that De Los Santos is 50 times better than Duarte. Now, when he said that, I had to stop and think about it, okay? To really try to be fair to Paulie Malinaggi. Because you know he's biased. Paulie will say some stuff, he can't even hide how biased he is sometimes. But a lot of his assessments, although he's biased, he's on point, right? He doesn't care what he says. But now, for Shakur Stevenson to get in the ring with De Los Santos and Ryan Garcia to get in there with Duarte, right? Did Shakur Stevenson put on a better performance against De Los Santos than Ryan Garcia did against Duarte? Because I'm going to tell you this before we get in here and take a look at these two guys, right? Ryan Garcia fought Duarte, and he did what he had to do in a couple rounds where he felt that power. And in those rounds where Ryan Garcia was, you know, like he was about to quit, right? I personally think Ryan Garcia, during those rounds, I think it was like rounds 4 and 5, that's where he was fighting with himself, like thinking, this isn't fun. Because he made a comment after the Tank fight about, you know, hey, I knew I was going to get hurt. I don't want to get hurt in there. And that's why he didn't want to continue, because his rib was already, he got hit with that shot, that body shot, and his rib was already injured. But when he said, I didn't want to get hurt, right? I said, hold your horses. Ryan Garcia took it to the stupid. He's a quitter. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. Boxing's a hard sport, right? When I create content, I try to give these guys respect and everything like that. But sometimes if I say someone's a quitter, don't think for a second I'm saying they're a bum. You don't hear me say anyone's a bum. Because that boxing's a tough sport, man. You know, if you've never even sparred, you really shouldn't talk at all about boxing, period. It's like if you never play basketball. What are you doing sitting here talking about who can play and who can't play? You can't even go out there and dribble a goddamn ball. So shut up. But I've been in the ring. I have trained. I have had fights. And I'm going to tell you right now, you know, you if you've done a lot of boxing, doesn't matter if you're an amateur or pro, you just are in the gym and you like the sport and sparring. You know what that feels like if you get in there and you kind of lose the momentum. And when I was watching, I was like, Ryan Garcia right now is having a conversation with himself, because he could have quit. But he chose to find a way to win, and you saw how the fight ended. Now, of course, you know, when you got a guy like Duarte who's a bull coming at you, and Ryan Garcia's hands are so lightning fast, he was able to get the check left hook off. And you don't even see it coming. It's that fast. And, you know, at the end of the day, that was the end of the fight. But the reason I say that is Shakur Stevenson he wasn't really trying to stay in the pocket long enough to try to time and counter Edwin De Los Santos with something to really shift the momentum of the fight. He was more okay with keeping his distance and, you know, running around the ring. You know what I'm saying? But De Los Santos wasn't coming in and being as aggressive as I think he should have. I think if he would have been more aggressive, I think he would have had even more success against Stevenson. Because I don't care what a fighter says. Well, he ran the whole fight. He didn't want to stand and fight. Okay, so what are you going to do about it? The fight's over, you lost. You're blaming him for running? Well, you see he's running. What are you going to do about it? But long story short, when we start to sit back and kind of take a look at these two guys, you look at Duarte, right? Oscar Duarte Jurado, right? This man has 26 wins, 21 KOs. Now he has 2 losses. Okay, Ryan Garcia gave him his his second loss. But look at the knockout ratio, 80%. 5'9", 71-inch reach. Now, this is my concern about Duarte. This is something that I mentioned when we were talking about it. It's like, yo, he's coming off of 11 consecutive knockouts. But when you scroll down here, And look at his fights, right? The one against Ryan Garcia was in Houston. The one before that was in California. The one before that was in, I guess, Long Beach, California. Then there's Mexico, then Anaheim, California. And then after that, Mexico, one of the states, Mexico, states, Mexico. You see what I'm saying? This man fought most of his fights in Mexico. And then the guys who he was fighting in the United States, you really don't know who they are. And that's how it is when these guys are moving up through the rankings. But what I'm getting at is, it makes me question the level of competition for a guy like Oscar Duarte. Then he steps up against Ryan Garcia, and he just wasn't able to close the show. Now, I'm going to tell you this, Ryan Garcia had been off for over a year and was in between trainers and coming off of a knockout. So to me, that was the perfect opportunity for Duarte to get to him and get a big win. But he wasn't able to do it. So that tells me that Duarte, maybe Malinaggi is right by saying De Los Santos is better than Duarte, 50% better. I don't know about that. But when you come and you take a look here now, when you start talking about Edwin De Los Santos, now that's a whole other ball of wax right there, man, because De Los Santos is a killer. 16 wins, 14 KOs, 87% KO ratio. He has 2 losses now, 5'8", 70-inch reach. Now, when you come and you take a look at De Los Santos, you're going to know these guys who he's fought, and he's got some big wins against. So just when you come right here and look, he fought Shakur Stevenson. Everyone knows that name. Shakur Stevenson is a special fighter, and although some may disagree with the decision, Shakur Stevenson, he won the fight. Then Adorno. You come and take a look at De Los Santos, the way he was able to outbox and just make Adorno look amateurish at times. So De Los Santos, not only is he a power puncher, he's a magnificent boxer. And I'm not just saying that. Watch that Adorno fight and look how he's getting in between his shots. Look how he's stepping out just enough out to the right, to his left, to create angles and create opportunities for himself. It's like in basketball, you got to create your own shot. The defender's not giving you nothing. Well, he's not supposed to. So what are you going to do? You got to shift him. You got to create shots, use angles. Boxing very similar. You got to create opportunities. And that's what he did. Then before that, he fought Jose Valenzuela, which was a good fight, but it just showed you the kind of power that De Los Santos had and that he's willing to risk being disqualified to get a win. Unfortunately, he didn't want to risk that against Shakur Stevenson, maybe because Shakur's he's a precise puncher and Shakur has super fast hands. But I just wish De Los Santos would have pushed a little bit more. Then before that, he had Luis Acosta, William Foster, Marco Acevedo. Okay, then after that, people probably don't recognize the names. But as far as Paulie Malinaggi saying De Los Santos are 50 times better than Duarte, I mean, maybe you want to say that because everybody knows that De Los Santos had fought Valenzuela and the way he beat him. Maybe because he fought Adorno and the way he beat him. So I can understand saying that on paper it looks like De Los Santos has faced the better competition than Duarte before De Los Santos went on to fight Shakur. But what I will tell you is a fight like De Los Santos versus Duarte, that is what you call a mash-up, crash-up type of fight. And if those guys were to fight, somebody dies. Simple. Like, you may see De Los Santos boxing, but if he chooses to go the mash-up, crash-up route, that's going to be one of them Gotti Ward type fights. Like, that's going to be a vicious fight where they're just going to destroy each other. But De Los Santos is very intelligent. He's a smart boxer. And I think De Los Santos would outbox and have his way with Duarte. I really do. But I don't know. Maybe y'all agree with Paulie Malinaggi. He's out here saying De Los Santos is 50 times better than Duarte. I don't think we should take anything from Ryan Garcia's win. I think Duarte was coming to win. He showed some levels to his game. I like when he would crouch and load and coming up high with the hook. And that was confusing Ryan Garcia. I like how he was going left to right, then exploding. Disrupting Ryan Garcia, not allowing him to be able to time him. So Duarte was doing some good stuff in there. It's just that hand speed. When you have that kind of hand speed and obviously some power, like Ryan Garcia has, at any time, man, it can show up. And the fight can be all one-sided. And then out of nowhere, boom, he lands the big left hand. Just like Andy Lee, when he was fighting fighting that one kid, man, he was a little island kid from St. Croix or St. Vincent. Anyway, from the Bahamas. Anyway, the guy was having his way and just, putting the pressure on Andy Lee, and Andy Lee just happened to catch him. I think it was a left hand or right hook, but he hit him with something and tranquilized him. Fight was over. So that being said, I don't know if I agree with Malinaggi, but I do think Edwin de los Santos' last couple opponents were really tough tests, and he passed with flying colors. And Shakur Stevenson didn't really want to stand there and try to trade, because that's not Shakur Stevenson's strength. He's not a guy who can knock you out with one punch like Ryan Garcia can. He's going to run, he's going to move, he's going to just try not to take damage, and people aren't going to necessarily like that style. But what I will say is, irregardless of if you think De Los Santos is better than Duarte, right? Who do you have winning if Shakur Stevenson fights Ryan Garcia? That's the real question. Because Ryan Garcia, they were talking about, make a catch weight at 138. Why would Ryan Garcia put himself back in position for an effing catch weight? If he's fighting at 140, which he fought at 143, which tells you him making 140 is damn near impossible. But if it's a 140 fight, Shakur Stevenson should go and fight him at 140. But this is where you're seeing Shakur Stevenson's really a smaller guy. He's really a smaller guy. At 135 is probably his peak. He's probably plateaued. Shakur going up past 135, he's got to pick the right opponent. And I'm going to tell you right now, Ryan Garcia ain't the right opponent. And I truly believe that, and I'll stand on that. Unless something drastic goes wrong with Ryan Garcia. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. Paulie Malinaggi, taking it to the stupid, or do you agree with him? In the breeze.